Bahraini authorities have arrested the country's main human rights activist who's been one of the leaders of the uprising there. Nabeel Rajab was detained late Saturday on his arrival from Lebanon. It comes just days before his appearance on Julian Assange's show here on RT, where the whistleblower quizzed him and an Egyptian activist over the revolutions in the Arab states. RT's Ivor Bennett reports.
Well, all the authorities have said is that Nabeel Rajab is being suspected of committing a number of crimes punishable by law, and that he's now being held on charges of inciting and taking part in illegal demonstrations. Now, it should be remembered, though, that Nabeel Rajab's position has landed him in a number of, made him the target even of the Bahraini authorities before, because he is a highly prominent activist there and also one of the most vocal and outspoken critics of the country's ruling family. And that's really what makes this next episode of Julian Assange's show so significant, because this is thought to be Rajab's last interview before his latest arrest. Now, Rajab is considered one of the heroes of the first protests that took place in Bahrain last February. He's now got over 140,000 followers on Twitter, because he's the head of the Bahraini Centre for Human Rights, and he's really the driving force behind the mass demonstrations that we're still seeing in the streets of Bahrain, despite a government ban on public protests there, since it became known that he was appearing on Assange's show. And that's what he elaborates on in this next episode.
When I said in my Twitter account that I'm going to meet Julian Assange and I'm going to speak to him in a TV program, my house was surrounded by almost 100 policemen, armed machine guns, and they realized then I was not at home. Then they just asked my family to tell me to come to the public prosecutor today at 4 o'clock, where I am here.
So the very day that he was summoned by the public prosecutor's office in Bahrain, he actually chose instead to appear on Assange's talk show and appear on RT, using the platform as an international platform even to criticise the regime in Bahrain. And it's for this reason that Julian Assange thinks why he's been arrested, basically. By appearing on this show, Rajab would indeed be risking a great deal, but even so, he'll be willing to pay any consequences that come of it, because he says he'll be fighting in the name of democracy. This is what he had to say.
It's not the first time, but this is the struggle, this is the freedom, this is democracy that we are fighting for. It has a cost, and that we have to pay the cost, and the cost might be very expensive, as we have paid high costs in Bahrain, and we're willing to pay that for the changes that we are fighting for.
Now, one of the other guests this week on Julian Assange's show is another prominent activist in the Arab Spring. His name is Alaa Abdel Fattah. He was a highly influential figure in the uprising in Egypt last year in Tahrir Square. But like Rajab, he too has become a target of the authorities. The fact that Julian Assange is speaking to the very people who are making these things happen in these countries and are willing to face the consequences, as we've seen with Nabeel Rajab with his arrest this weekend, well, that's what makes this next episode really one that's not to be missed, and you can catch it here on RT. It's being shown at 11:30 GMT this Tuesday.
I speak to two leading revolutionaries, one from Bahrain, where the revolution failed, one from Egypt, where the revolution is now in turmoil. What makes a revolution, and where is the Arab Spring going to go?